you own your career and your career path. So you have to self-advocate. You have to self-represent. You have to kind of ask, because if you don't ask, then likelihood of happening, it might happen, but it might not happen.
Welcome to the Unspoken Wisdom Micro Podcast with me, Rita, your go-to guide for your tech career journey. In this episode, we will be talking about breaking the glass ceiling phenomenon at work with our special guest speaker, Reynold D'Sa, the Corporate Vice President from Microsoft.
Welcome to the show, Reynold.
Hi, Rita. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Let's talk about the glass ceiling phenomenon, which refers to invisible barriers which preventing someone from advancing in their career. What is your personal thought about how to break this glass ceiling phenomenon from the individual point of view?
Very good question, and it is a real phenomenon that we see in our workplace kind of thing. And there is no absolute right answer or a checklist. You do this, and that happens kind of stuff. It's usually an aggregate of many different things that that come together kind of thing to help break the glass ceiling. I can think of let me just kind of say three things, and then we can see if you have any questions on it. So I would say the first thing, and most likely a very, very important thing, is to actually have that honest conversation with your manager or your leadership. Because if one feels like they are, there's a glass ceiling, or it might be because the scope is not there, the expectations of the glass ceiling is different or not aligned. So I just think fundamentally it's very, very important to have an aligned and honest conversation with the manager, because they are going to have to be your strongest ally in you advancing your career, right? So that's going to have to be very key. Second thing I would say is, again, then it's not just your manager, it's the network and it's the allies. But I would say that's what an individual can do in that space is actually stretch beyond their existing day-to-day job, is what I would say. Like, put yourself out there, connect with others, know what's going around, to kind of even potentially newer opportunities that come up that might not seem very intuitive. Like, one of the things that helped me in my career quite a bit is actually stretching and doing things that were not even like engineering related. This was in the middle of my career, but I was very engineering focused. But what that did is then help me build, get to know more about opportunities that were there in other areas, and that helped, and others to also get to know me, and that helped quite a bit, is kind of what I would say. And the third, I know this is the tough one, is having patience. It will come, but not but you also want to be pushing towards it, but also kind of don't get frustrated, is what I would say. Continuously kind of work those couple of things, which is identify opportunities, know more about what's happening around you, more than the day-to-day job, because I think some of this is you putting yourself out there, others getting to know you, and the opportunities coming up, and then people aware that you're looking for those opportunities where one would break the glass ceiling.
I see. It's interesting point when you address the first point about addressing this when it happened to you, to your manager.
Yeah. You own your career and your career path. So you have to self-advocate. You have to self-represent. You have to kind of ask, because if you don't ask, then likelihood of happening, it might happen, but it might not happen, right? So that's why I think just making it aware that, hey, I'm looking for this. I'm looking to go to the next opportunity, right? So that honest conversation is going to be very important, because even if that opportunity is not there, the notion is your manager knows more about what's around, and they might say, hey, look, here's something else that came up that might be interesting, and you might not have known. So like, that honest discussion is very important. And by the way, the manager might even come back and say, hey, I don't see you at this level yet. You've got to get a little more experience to kind of do this opportunity. But at least then also you become self-aware of like, hey, maybe the manager does not know that I can do it, or maybe I've not gotten the small opportunity to show that, or just having that conversation is going to be very key.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to click subscribe below. And remember, wisdom often comes in unspoken moments. This is Rita signing off from the Unspoken Wisdom.